Perfect.
Welcome to Porch Play Chats, sponsored by the American Association for the Child's Right to Play, or a little shorter title that might help you remember us is IPA USA. IPA USA is the USA affiliate of the International Play Association. And as part of our efforts to promote play, we've introduced Porch Play Chats. There's about 300 of them. They're all free to you, and you can find them. They're just conversations with people who are just as passionate about play as we are. And there are some great tips that are provided by these passionate play people. And so to find them, go to our website, ipausa.org. Up in the top right hand corner, friend us on Facebook or follow us on something and subscribe to us on YouTube channel. And magically, every Monday morning, a new Porch Play Chat will appear in your feed. And if you're on our YouTube channel, you can see all of it and see which ones interest you. Listen to them on your way to work. Listen to them when you're bored at home, though I know we're so busy, we'll never be bored. So I'm Deb Lawrence, and I'm co-president of IPA USA. And with me on the porch today is Pam Gunther. Oh,
Hi, how are you? Good to see
good
you.
to see you again. So Pam has the answer for people who say, I don't have money to replace stuff on my playground, or I don't have my kids don't have anything to do on the playground, so we just cut out recess, or any of those things. Pam is your answer. And today, so she is the founder and CEO of Fit and Fun Playscapes, the international innovator of movement-based products that help people of all ages and abilities, including seniors, by the way, lead a healthier lifestyle. Pam began her career as an architect and planner, and she put that career on hold when she started their family. She and her husband started their family, and she got involved in volunteer projects at the children's school and painting recess games outside. And she fell in love with the colorful results and the reaction of the kids. And so she started this business, Fit and Fun Playscapes. It's an online retailer of indoor and outdoor portable activities that inspire communities to move, socialize, play, and learn more. And so Pam's joining us today, and her topic today is creating inclusive painted play spaces for everyone to enjoy. Pam, it's great to see you again. And I shared with you when we were talking to Danielle that I'm going to send this to Debbie Ray in Texas, who does the Link Project, which is a Finland-based approach to getting children outside 4 times a day
It's amazing.
to break, to give them an academic break and reset their ability to focus and retain information. That's what Finland does all the way through high school.
That's amazing. And that's
I
that's
know.
what kiddos need.
It is exactly what children need. So Pam's going to talk to us about creating these inclusive spaces, which I think is really important. I bet I have seen some of the templates and like the mats that you also do. She's going to talk to us about it, but the mats that you do in elementary schools outside in the hallways, I am sure I've seen some.
Yes, yes. So, Debbie, you'd mentioned our portable activities. That's one of several product lines that we have. We've really started out Fit and Fun. I started out of my house, like the information you read. And it was just like a dream, just a little, I fell in love with that volunteer project. So I started to design different types of hopscotch and games for outdoor recess areas. And then, so one of our legacy product lines and most popular is our playground stencils and paint kits, so that you can get some really unique games out on the blacktop or the concrete, and really activate those spaces and get more people, more children out there playing and engaged. My oldest son, who's many years ago in kindergarten, in elementary school, it was determined that he was neurodiverse. And at that time, I just knew he was like not interested in kickball or foursquare, but he wanted to run and he wanted to play out on the recess areas. So and sometimes with him, we designed some games together. And so I think that was really my first look as a parent, as a mother, on how important it is to provide games for all kinds of kids. That not everybody loves a foursquare or a basketball or a hopscotch. And so one of the core values is to provide just really unique, fun games for all kinds of kids. And over time, it's evolved into these other product lines, the portable mats, decals or sensory paths in the hallways, but also translating the fundamental joy in play to different ages as well, to high
Mhm.
schoolers, teens. Oh my gosh, they're so tricky. And to our active adults and seniors. So, and being inclusive across all of those abilities and ages is really important for the
And I think what is so powerful is that people tell you this is what I'm looking for, or this is the amount of space that I have, or this is whatever. And then you give them options. Everybody likes choice, every play person likes choice. And then you have the age range so that you are able to cater it to that particular skill set for that particular age group. So there's so much development that goes into what you suggest or offer or describe to people so that you're tailoring, individualizing the products that you're showing them based on what they've told you that they want. You don't just say, you know, here's what I would recommend. You listen, which is such an important part of us in our communication, that we listen to what children want, or we listen to what adults need, or teachers need, or principals need. And then we provide options through listening to those needs. But I think the beauty of what Pam's company does is that she doesn't do it for you. It becomes a project to paint all these things on the blacktop or the sidewalks, these activities that she provides. She gives you the template, but you do the work. And children do the work, which also gets them invested in what's happening on the playground. So, many times when we're talking about recess, principals are saying, well, we just don't have the money to replace equipment over and over and over again, and kids lose things. Well, it's kind of like you should be planning to replace those things. That should be part of your budget, right? But if that's outside your realm of possibility, then offering children some of these templates, some of these games on the playground in strategic places, and Pam's really good at helping you figure that out, where you need the spaces to be, is a way that you can, you know, financially be able to provide children with things to do out there that's going to keep them from sitting down on the playground when we need them to be actively moving for their brains to work well.
1,000%, Debbie. And I think painted play spaces, especially inclusive painted play spaces, is an affordable way to bring all those kiddos together, because that's what really inclusion is, right? Being together. And, budgets have been ravaged over the last year. And
Ravage.
so, talking about a $500,000 climbing structure, that's awesome if you could do that. But many schools and districts simply cannot afford that. And so
Right.
to provide things, games, activities, social activities, engagement out during school recess or after school for, like I said, children, all different types of children to be active and socialize and practice their skills, their social skills is really important. And the painted play spaces, yes, it's work. It's a labor of love. You're out there for a few hours and you're painting these games, and then your work is done. And the
Mm-hmm.
sustainability of the type of project that these stencils and Pink can provide is really long term. And our product happens to be unique because it is a reusable plastic material. So you can retouch, you can share over time. And so for less than 10,000, $5,000, whatever your budget is, you can make something, you can make that blank, hot, a blacktop into a beautiful experience for children if we're speaking just about painted play spaces. Uh,
Mhm.
and then, the inclusive part of it is, when we talk about inclusive play, it's really just bringing everybody together physically, socially, developmentally, generationally. That's the sweet stuff. And I'm greedy. I want it all. I want it affordable. I want it colorful. I want it engaging. And I want everybody to really love it. I want it all in one experience.
Well, and I think what is so, color we know draws us, right? You go to the flower, I don't know if you have flower shows where you are, but we have this amazing flower show in Philadelphia that always comes right when we are desperate for, flowers and pretty stuff at the end of February, first week of March. It is the most amazing place. And you go because you know that there's going to be so many flowers and flowering trees and
Yes,
colors and lights and humans are drawn to color. Children in a classroom are drawn to color. And so if you have, in early childhood classrooms and college classrooms, we teach teachers about provocations, Reggio Emilia provocations, which always are something that engages and draws children to whatever it is in their free choice of time during the day. And so this, I think it's the colors that I love the most, that
ab
they children would run to them.
Yep. This is a visual age now more than ever. I equate what we do compared like a black and white TV, which I grew up with, maybe you too,
Mm-hmm,
Debbie,
mm-hmm,
to a color TV. And now you've got HD, right? And you've got phones. So being able to recreate visually appealing, colorful games um, it's necessary for this generation. You know it, right? Like it just needs to be done. It's the paint is not just the decoration, it's just like an effective tool to engage. And
yes,
because that's what everybody's competing with, we're all competing with phones and things like that with engagement and excitement. So their brains are changing, they're evolving, and they need some more stimulation in more healthy ways than their
yeah.
phones.
And so talk about, because I know we've had you on before and we've talked about it before, but we were talking about, what you could do at elementary schools that would be, let's say they're kindergarten through the fifth grade. And then what do you have available for middle school? Because I know we have middle school people on here. And what do you have available for secondary? Because I know we have people on here. And I'm even thinking about our college campus.
Oh yeah.
When we go outside, which sidewalk chalk, the very first thing they do is a hopscotch draw thing with their sidewalk chalk. And then they play. College students, because we play just as much as anybody else does. So what would be some like age age sorts of ideas that you have to engage each one of those in which includes the color, but like what would we do with a secondary school?
Yeah. So, we all know the quote, build it and they will come, right? And
Mhm.
so you just need to provide it. Most middle and high schoolers love their sport oriented activities, basketball, fitness ladders, mindfulness, exercise, fitness stations, things like that. But,
Mhm.
a few weeks ago or a few months, maybe a month or two ago, going all over TikTok and social media was the hopscotch challenge. And it wasn't hopscotch at all. But it was hopping, jumping to a short little sequence of movements with footprints on the ground, and it was everywhere. So coming back to that, like there's not much. You just need to put it down on the ground. It could be a hopscotch. It could be just a series of circles that you paint on the ground and let the creativity begin, or loops and lines. So
Mhm.
it's nothing, there are specific things that can be done for that age group that will certainly resonate with them. But then there's just kind of out of the box, more organic ways to engage them. I was on a call a few days ago with the group. I'm on a commission in our local county. I'm in Dutchess County, and there was a teen liaison on the group, and she started speaking about an installation of decals we did at our local mall. She didn't know that we put them down there, and she went on, and I'm listening like, uh-huh, uh-huh, and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
how much fun they were having out there with teens, and they're taking TikTok, all it. It's a daisy hopscotch. It's side jumps. It's letters and numbers. It's like I said, build it and they will come. And then if you can bring in that inclusion part of it, where they're together, a grandmother with their child, explaining how to play. Kids don't know how to play hopscotch these days, most of
That's right. They
and
don't.
that becomes a conversation, and you become like a hero as a parent or a grandparent explaining how to play because they're like, it's just numbers on the floor.
Mhm.
So if you could engage them with, that conversation of how to play, that's really beautiful stuff. And then next level is children with, developmental or physical disabilities. We're
Mhm.
working with this group um, with the Los Angeles, well, alongside Los Angeles Unified School District, but there's a group on the West Coast, Inclusion Matters by Shane's Inspiration, and they do a lot of funding for playground builds. And we've been working on a series of stencils and paint specifically for inclusive experiences,
Mhm.
meaning with the theme of just together, being together, playing side by side, um,
Mhm.
doing things and playing in ways that both can enjoy. And so I think, just taking our core values and building upon those to meet the needs of all different people is really important. I mean, really, it's not just about special kids. It's about designing spaces where everyone can play and belongs together. That's really what recess and play should be and is.
Which is going to help children develop social and emotional competence that we're missing at the moment, which is going to help them learn to negotiate and navigate, which is going to help them learn to take turns, which is going to give them something that physically challenges their bodies instead of just sitting down, and being bored because there's nothing to do on the playground. So I think these are solutions to what people see as barriers to a playground. And I mean, Debbie Ray from Texas was on with the Link Project on a Porch Play Chat in this series of 4 days, and she was talking about a principal who is just a star in not putting static equipment on the playground. And he said, here's an example. When she said, so you don't have a playground structure, you have this big mound with a concrete tunnel through it, and you have this huge rock, this huge boulder that you brought in. And he said, you would not believe what they do with those two things. They sometimes they come out and they just sit on the rock and they have conversations.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they come out and they're running up the hill and down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill and down the hill, or they're having, a conversation inside the tunnel, and it's all easily visible. Teachers can see right through it, all the way through. And and he said, so it's amazing. Instead of having a static structure that people would pay, hundreds of thousands of dollars for, $5,000. I did these two things that are very popular, and that kids roll down the hill and they throw balls down the hill and they do all of these things, and they turn big boulder into a puppet stand and do have like telling stories and acting out scenes. And so if we give them things to do, some that are open ended where they can choose to do what to do, some that might be a little more structured if they feel like they need that, or just some that they can just follow a path and get some physical activity, we're doing stuff that children
Absolutely.
need.
Absolutely. And as a company, we don't want to take the creativity away from the child. We want to create things that form the foundation for other creativities. For example, one of our most popular hopscotches is our robot hopscotch, and actually made part of that with my oldest son. And so taking that, and a child can take chalk and build a whole solar system and a whole scene, and paths and spaceships. And so it's a great way to allow the children more creative. It's more creativity. Sometimes some kids just need a little help to spark that imagination.
They
And
just need an invitation, right? So the robot is the invitation, and then you figure out what you're going to do, where he's going to be, and what he's going to do. That's awesome. I
exactly.
love it.
We're working with SUNY Brockport on a study about recess and stencils. It should be wrapped up this fall, yes, with the results. And it talks about, and you touched upon this, Debbie, about social, emotional importance of recess and play, and the impact of painted play spaces. And so that'll be interesting. I know Department of Education Oklahoma, they used our stencils, they have over the last 3 years throughout the state. And they've done a lot of studies, and they see an increase of about 60% in physical activity engagement with not just the students, but the staff.
Yes.
And some really good stuff. And, affordability is on everybody's mind these days. So I think it's a great way to zhuzh up your your playground. And instead of purchasing, some larger equipment, although everybody loves a climbing wall and things like that.
And they do.
Oh, yeah.
But in when you have a budget and children need to be able to do stuff, this is an alternative that still keeps them active, right? So if every school had a big budget, then yes, they could do climbing walls and they could do all these other things. But it's I think this allows for more freedom of choice. Like for an average, how many, let's say you have a huge playground, just a typical elementary school playground, or a space, like for example, this principal I was talking about in their secondary schools, they have the music, area where all the musical courses, band and choir and everything is on this side. And then they have their cafeteria on the other side, and then the classrooms are in the middle. And so they almost have this like little hub
Mm.
that's in between, that is where they have placed things that they've taught to students. If you could have anything out here, what would you like? And they've given them ideas, and then they follow through, right? So, but he said, so my big boulder that he puts on every playground, um, he said, so the kids who are in band go into the music room during their lunch period, which is longer than 15 minutes, and they come out and sit on the rock and play music for,
Absolutely.
I mean, just so think about a community and a space of gathering that that high schoolers enjoy. They can sit there and be social because they're such social creatures, and they're in this space where they have lunch, and then they can come outside or they can eat outside, and then they have people that play the flute for a little bit, or
Yes.
play their violin for a little. I mean, how peaceful is that? How
Yeah.
settling to be outside in nature, and then to then go back in and focus. I mean, one of
And
the things that I've been saying all week is that adults get two 15-minute breaks and at least 30 minutes for lunch, but we don't think kids deserve that. And so we have to change our frame of mind that everybody, every human needs a break, two breaks, and a lunchtime to sort of reset and re-energize. And so it's almost like we don't see them as having needs. We just see us as having them to do things that will meet our needs, like the stupid test, right? So, um,
Absolutely. 60 minutes a day. That's what they're supposed to have.
crazy.
There's a great organization called Say Yes to Recess,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
taking
we
their.
had her on. We had Amy Reyes on.
Who did you have?
Amy Reyes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and she was
Wonderful.
wonderful. So she's in this segment too of the 4 crazy days of Porch Play Chat.
And
Um,
they pull at my heartstrings because it's absolutely about getting the kids. They're really great advocates, and I feel like that movement is sweeping the country to ensure that recess is given to children. They cannot be sitting for 5 or 6 hours. We don't do that. So why would you think children could do that?
yeah, yeah, it's unrealistic expectations, and it goes from the time they enter to the time they end. You try to teach them something quicker than they used to learn it, and it's not working.
I mean,
So,
it's unhealthy. Talk to any pediatrician. It is not healthy for them to be sitting
absolutely,
that
it
long.
is not healthy.
No.
Right. Exactly. So, Pam, I think this has been great. We've had an opportunity to learn more about Fit and Fun, and we've people have had some ideas, and I'll put your website on the YouTube channel
Perfect.
and as well so people can go and look. And if you want to send me, I'm just trying to think, I can find your videos probably on YouTube. But I think people need to see it to understand how amazing it is and how it can be so meaningful because the children, you're not you're not putting it in, you're providing the materials, listening, helping them plan, and then sending it to them so there's investment at the school or on the
Absolutely.
playground.
Absolutely. We believe that movement is a language everyone should
Mhm.
be able to do and access regardless of age or abilities. So
Mhm. So
it's
senior centers and parks, think about how you could make this accessible to seniors to get seniors who need to be more mobile some things that they could do that aren't necessarily the stretching things, right? That people who are running or something might need. Think of the childhood memories that some of these would bring back. I just think it's a wonderful way to encourage people to play.
Thank you, Debbie. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Pam, thanks so much for joining us. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. I'm going to introduce you to someone else who's coming on. To learn more about IPA USA, please visit our website at ipausa.org. And until next time, keep on playing.